Well, on behalf of the Toyota Racing Formula Regional Oceania Series, we are delighted to welcome Chloe Chambers, one of our graduates, and in fact, the first ever female to win an FIA Formula Regional race right here in Taupo in New Zealand this time last year. And she's got some big news again, and we are delighted with that news that she's joining the Formula One Academy and will be representing the Haas Formula One team in those colors. Congratulations, Chloe.
Yeah, thank you.
How did this all come about? And tell us a little bit about the story.
Yeah, so I had kind of tried to pursue F1 Academy this time last year, actually. Um, and unfortunately, I was a little bit too late on getting things going for that, so I ended up missing out on the 2023 season of F1 Academy, which was its first season. So I ended up going off and doing some sports car racing in the States, did very well in that. And then sort of in the middle of the year, we sort of started going back and thinking maybe we should try to go back into F1 Academy again because the opportunities that it can bring are massive. And especially with in 2024, them changing it to be on Formula One race weekends as well as live streamed on all the Formula One channels. Um, it just opens a lot more doors that weren't really there in 2023. So I pushed really hard to get into it for this year, went out to Spain to do some testing with the teams and just tried to kind of show myself to the teams so that they at least were aware of me and that I was trying to pursue it. And ultimately, we kind of got into talks with A14 management, who is now managing me, and they were a big help because they have so many connections over in Europe that my dad and I don't have. And so they helped a lot with getting everything sorted for me. Um, and I ended up getting paired with Haas F1 Team, which obviously makes a lot of sense. It's the only American Formula One team on the grid, and I'm an American driver. So that pairing really just made sense with me. And obviously, who would say no to being partnered with the Formula One team? So I graciously accepted their offer, and then yeah, I'll be racing with Campos Racing at 7 of the Formula One race weekends this year.
And have you met your teammate?
Yeah, so I when I was in Spain actually, I did end up testing with one of my teammates, and then the third teammate is not announced, so I can't really say anything about that.
Okay. But how about the timing too? I mean, obviously there's big news with Gunter Steiner moving aside, but I think it's kind of nice that I saw a nice picture of you and Io the other day. He's got daughters who race too, so there's a nice little crossover there.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, you know, Gunter was such a face and like a personality, especially from Drive to Survive. So, I've kind of seen a lot of the comments saying, "Oh, we want Gunter back," but also you have to think about it from the perspective of the team. They did a really good interview with Gene Haas on F1 with Lawrence Barretto, and basically the way that he said it is that it was time for a change in kind of the higher tiers of the team because the team had finished last place in the Constructors' Championship 2 out of the last 3 years, and so it really does make sense to change something around with the team to try to figure out what the problem is. So, as much as Gunther is, a really cool personality, very funny, I think it'll be good for Haas in the long run.
What about I mean, tell us about the season because I know that you're going to be racing Miami, but tell us about, for your fans, the Formula Academy series and how big that will be in terms of experience for you.
Yeah, so we go to 7 of the Formula One race weekends. So the first race is in Jeddah. I don't have the calendar fully memorized, but I do know all of the races. So the first race is in Jeddah, and then we race in Miami, Barcelona, Zandvoort, Singapore, Qatar, and Abu Dhabi. So kind of looking at that schedule, there are only 2 races in Europe. And the majority of the other races will be tracks that none of us have driven on before. So kind of evening the playing field a little bit there, will be, it'll make it a lot more of a race. I expect everybody to be a lot closer in times and just the racing in general to be really good. Um, but yeah, for a driver's perspective though, having to learn so many tracks in the year, and especially with it being on the Formula 1 race weekends and, having all of the buzz that happens during those weekends will be a new experience for a lot of drivers. I did W series, of course, so I was at Formula 1 race weekends racing. So I do kind of understand how it works, but with F1 Academy, you get so much more track time. So I think in the end, the times will be a lot closer than they were in W series. And of course, with all the cars being equal, it'll make the racing really good. But much like what it was in New Zealand, you have to be able to learn the tracks quickly. Even though you have that extra track time, it's still a challenge to try to learn the tracks quickly before qualifying.
And do you know if you will be able to also integrate yourself into learning more about the F1 team? Will you be able to be, when you're not racing, around on the headphones perhaps? Is that part of your learning experience?
Yeah, so part of my deal with Haas is that I will get to experience kind of the inside of the team on a race weekend. I will be obviously I'll be at the tracks during the F1 race weekends where I am racing, but I will also have the opportunity to go to a few of the other races where I won't be racing, so I'll be able to kind of be with the team throughout the entire weekend and, sit in on driver debriefs, watch the on-track action with the engineers, kind of just immerse myself so that I understand kind of how it works.
And what are you excited about? Obviously, they've got two great drivers. You've been around Formula One, as you say, as part of the W Series, but this is a huge opportunity for your learning curve, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to, being so close to Formula 1, being able to sit in the garage and watch the sessions, being able to sit in on debriefs and hear sort of what everyone is saying during those debriefs, how the drivers are giving feedback and how the engineers are responding to that. Just kind of stuff that's kind of at a higher level than what I am now. It'll be, for the most part, familiar. It'll be similar to sort of what we do, but obviously in Formula 1, everything is on a much bigger scale. So being able to kind of experience that and be in that environment before actually being in Formula 1, being thrown into the deep end, that'll be a lot of experience that I couldn't gain anywhere else, really.
When I met you this time last year, it was great because we were joking a little bit. We were talking to one of your mechanics, Lou, who, by the way, is delighted for you. And we were saying it was kind of neat that she was working on your car because still there wasn't that many women involved in motorsport. I'm glad to say there's 3 or 4 mechanics and engineers, if not, actually, no, I might go as high as 6 this year. But just take me back to Taupo this time last year and tell everybody how important to your career that race to win was from pole position.
Yeah, that race win was, super, super special. Something I won't ever forget and probably my biggest racing accomplishment to this day, something I'm proud of. And I know Lulu is too. um, but yeah, I think it definitely kind of showed that women can compete at a high level with the men, I guess you could say. In mixed categories, that it's possible. Um, and, I think for myself, it just built a lot of my confidence up as well, kind of going into the racing season for that year. Obviously, I ended up making a switch into sports cars, but, you know, I think it helped my confidence in anything that I ended up racing that year. And I just, especially with it being the last race weekend of the season, it showed my progression throughout the season and um especially because we got so much track time that I had never had before. It showed how important getting track time was and, in your development as a driver.
Well, the man you beat that day is racing and is one of the favorites this season. That's Caleb Nartoa, and he too sends his regards and wishes you well because obviously you held him off for the entire race this time last year.
I'm excited to see how he does this year. Obviously it's his first full season. So, yeah, I think Caleb's a great guy, great driver, and I'm excited to be watching.
Well, Chloe, as I said, we in the Toyota fraternity wish you well, and we're delighted with the news. It's great for us. It's fantastic for you. What ambitions are you setting then for the Academy series?
Yeah, so for this year, really the goal is to obviously take in all the new experiences that are going to come this year and develop as a driver, come out of the year with more knowledge. I think for sure from testing, top five is doable. Testing really helped me kind of gauge myself a bit, figure out where I was after not driving an open wheel car for 8 months or so. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty confident, and especially with all of the testing days that we have before the race weekends and all the prep that goes into the race weekends as well. I think I have a really, really good shot at getting a top 5 finish in the championship.
Well, listen, we hope you do that. And as you know, on my radio show, Speed City, we've had a mantra since we began back in 2012, which was we needed a Formula One circuit. We needed a Formula One team. We've got the Formula One circuit at COTA. We've got the Formula One team at Haas, but we wanted an American driver to win for us. So you are going to have to be the first Haas winner for America. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, you know, it was something that my parents and I had kind of joked about because we were like, Haas has never actually gotten a win before. So, if I can get in F1 Academy, I think that'll be a pretty special thing with the team and especially for me as well.
Well, listen, all the women in motorsport are behind you, all of the Haas fans in America are behind you, and everybody here in New Zealand and around the world wishes you well. Congratulations, Chloe Chambers. We will be watching from the get-go here in 2024. Congratulations again.
Thank you.